We've come so far with these two. From wrapped pineapples in the rain to signed contracts at midnight. From a woman learning she was strong to a father learning he could change. 6 months had passed since Mr. Hoan first invested in their farm, and the land had transformed. The chicken coop housed 80 birds now. The pineapple field had doubled. They'd even built that fish pond James and Diep had dreamed about. But the real transformation wasn't in the land, it was in the people. Mr. Hoan came every Sunday now, not to inspect, not to advise unless asked, just to be there, to eat Diep's cooking and listen to Nie's endless stories and help James fix whatever had broken that week. He'd learned to ask permission, learned to step back, learned that love didn't have to look like control. This particular Sunday, he arrived with something different. Not documents, not plans, just an old photograph in a worn envelope. James was in the chicken coop when his father's car pulled up. He wiped his hands on his pants and walked over, smiling. That alone was progress. 6 months ago, his father's arrival would have made his shoulders tense. Now it just meant family was here. Father, you're early. Mr. Hoan looked nervous, actually nervous. I needed to talk to you, and Diep, both of you, before. He glanced toward the house where Nie's laughter rang out, before she hears. James's smile faded. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Mr. Hoan held up the envelope. But this will change things, and I wanted you both to decide together how to handle it. They sat at the table, the same one where every important conversation happened. Diep joined them, drying her hands on a towel, reading the tension immediately. Mr. Hoan placed the photograph face down between them. 6 months ago, when I first came here, I told Diep she reminded me of someone, James's mother. But that wasn't the whole truth. He took a breath. She reminded me of another woman too. Someone I met once, years ago, when I was still trying to control everything in my son's life. James went very still. What are you talking about? Mr. Hoan turned the photograph over. It showed a young woman, maybe 25, standing in front of what looked like a small market stall. She was thin, worn, but smiling at whoever held the camera. And even in the faded colors, even across the years, the resemblance was unmistakable. Diep's hand flew to her mouth. That's... She couldn't finish the sentence. Your mother, Mr. Hoan said quietly. Her name is Huong, and she's alive. The silence that followed was absolute, not peaceful, absolute, like the moment after lightning before thunder arrives. James found his voice first. How do you know this? Because I met her 15 years ago. She came to my office asking about you. Mr. Hoan looked at Diep, and there was genuine shame in his eyes. She'd heard James was courting someone, wanted to know if it was her daughter, if she'd finally found you. Diep was shaking. And what did you tell her? I told her no. The words came out heavy, final. I told her James was seeing someone from a good family, someone appropriate. I told her to stop looking because her daughter had probably moved on and wouldn't want to be found by someone who'd abandoned her. James stood up so fast his chair fell backward. You what? I was protecting you, Mr. Hoan said, but he didn't sound convinced anymore. Or, I thought I was. I thought she was after money, after position. I thought. He stopped, started again. I was wrong, about everything. About her, about you and Diep, about what matters. Diep was crying silently, staring at the photograph. Where is she now? I don't know, but I have the address she gave me 15 years ago, and I have this. He pulled out a piece of paper. 3 weeks ago, I hired someone to find her, to see if she was still alive, if she still wanted to be found. His hands shook as he unfolded it. She runs a small fabric stall 2 hours from here. She never married, never had other children, and according to my investigator, He paused. She still has a photograph of a little girl on her counter. You. From when you were 3. The weight of that truth settled over the table like snow. James spoke, his voice rough. Why are you telling us this now? Because I'm dying. Mr. Hohen said it simply. Was. Matter of fact. Not tomorrow, not next month, but soon enough. And I've spent 6 months watching you build this family. Watching Diep be the mother to me that she never had herself. And I realized I'm sitting on information that could give her that. Could give her the one thing I stole from her 15 years ago. He looked at Diep. I can't give you back those years. Can't undo what I did. But I can give you a choice now. The choice I took away then. Diep stared at him. Then at the photograph. Then at James. She's been 2 hours away this whole time? Yes, all these years, while I was wondering, while I was alone. Yes. Diep stood up, walked to the window, stood there for a full minute, not speaking. James moved to go to her, but Mr. Hohen caught his arm gently, shook his head. Some moments, you have to let people find their own way through. When Diep turned back, her face was wet but her voice was steady. Does she know you're telling me this? No. I wanted you to decide first if you even want to see her, if you want to open that door. Mr. Hohen stood. And I wanted you to know whatever you decide, I'll support it. If you want to meet her, I'll prease it. If you never want to see her again, I'll respect that too. This is your choice, not mine, not hers, yours. Diep looked at James. What do you think? James crossed to her, took her hands. I think this is the biggest decision you'll ever make. And I think you don't have to make it right now, or tomorrow, or ever, if you're not ready. But if I am ready, then I'm with you, whatever you choose. And Diep turned back to Mr. Hohen. Can I keep the photograph? It's yours. He placed it in her hands gently. Everything from here is yours. The choice, the timing, the terms. I'm just trying to fix what I broke. After he left, Diep sat with that photograph for hours. James sat beside her, not speaking, just present. Ni came and went, sensing something big was happening, but not asking questions. 7 years old, and already learning when to give space. Finally, as the sun started to set, Diep spoke. I'm terrified. I know. What if she doesn't want me anymore? What if I'm not what she hoped for? What if you are? James countered gently. What if she's been waiting her whole life for this? Diep looked at him. Do you think I should go? I think, James said carefully, that you've spent your whole life building families from pieces. You took Ni when she needed a mother. You took me when I needed to choose love over money. You even took my father when he needed to learn how to be human again. He squeezed her hand. Maybe it's time to see if you can build one more, the one you lost before you even knew what family was. The decision took 3 days. 3 days of Diep carrying that photograph everywhere, propping it against the teapot while she cooked, tucking it in her pocket while she fed the chickens, staring at it before bed like it might reveal answers if she looked long enough. On day 2, she asked James, what if I go and it ruins everything? What if I'm angry? What if she's angry? What if we can't forgive each other? James was fixing the irrigation line, but he stopped. Sat down right there in the dirt. Then you'll come home. To me and Ni and this life we've built. That doesn't change. Nothing can take that away. On day 3, she asked Ni, if someone you loved very much had to go away a long time ago, and now they wanted to come back, would you be mad at them? Ni thought about it seriously. Did they want to go away? No. They had to. Then I wouldn't be mad. Ni looked up from her coloring. I'd just be happy they came back. Out of the mouths of children. That evening, Diep found James on the porch. She sat beside him, the photograph in her hands. I want to go, but I need you to come with me. Of course. And I need to know that if it goes badly, if she blames me for not finding her sooner, or I blame her for leaving, or we just can't bridge 15 years of missing each other, I need to know we can leave. That you won't make me stay and try to fix it. James pulled her close. The second you want to leave, we leave. No questions, no pressure. Okay. Diep took a shaky breath. Then let's go tomorrow, before I lose my nerve. Mr. Hohen had offered to arrange the meeting, but Diep refused. If I'm going to do this, I'm doing it my way. No intermediaries, no setup, just me showing up. How? So, the next morning, they left Nie with the neighbor, climbed onto the motorbike, and drove 2 hours to a town Diep had never known her mother lived in. The fabric store was easy to find right where Mr. Hohen's note said it would be. A small wooden structure in a market that had seen better days. Bolts of cloth hung on racks, faded from sun but neatly organized. And behind the counter, folding fabric with careful hands, was a woman in her 50s. She looked exactly like the photograph. Older, thinner, more worn, but unmistakably the same person. And there, on the corner of the counter, was a small framed photo. A little girl, maybe 3 years old, laughing at something off camera. Diep stopped walking. Just stopped, 10 feet from the stall, frozen. The woman looked up, saw them, smiled the professional smile of a shopkeeper greeting customers. Can I help you find something? Amy, here's what happened next. Diep didn't say anything. She just pulled out the photograph Mr. Hohen had given her, held it up. The woman's smile disappeared. The fabric she was holding fell from her hands. She stared at the photo, then at Diep, then back at the photo. That's mine, she whispered. I gave that to someone who said they'd. She couldn't finish. He gave it to me. Diep's voice shook. 3 days ago. You know him? The man in the big office who... The woman stopped, really looked at Diep, and something in her face changed, broke open. Oh God, you're not. I'm Diep. The name came out strangled. And I think you're my mother. What happened next wasn't like the movies. There was no running into each other's arms, no dramatic music, no perfect words. Huang just stood there, gripping the counter like it was the only thing keeping her upright. And Diep stood there, gripping James's hand like he was her anchor to reality. You're so tall, Huang finally said. I always wondered how tall you'd be. You're shorter than I imagined, Diep replied. Then laughed, a broken sound. I don't know why I said that. Can I? Huang gestured weakly. Can you come around? Can we sit? They sat on 2 wooden stools behind the stall. James stayed back, giving them space, but staying close enough that Diep could see him. Could remember she had a way out if she needed it. For a long moment, neither woman spoke. Then Huang said, I looked for you, for years. I went back to where I'd left you, but the family was gone. I asked everyone. No one knew where you'd gone. I moved around a lot, Diep said quietly. Different families, different towns. I'm sorry. The words cracked coming out. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to leave you. Your father. He was violent. Dangerous. If I'd stayed, he would have killed us both eventually. I thought if I left, if I drew him away, you'd be safe with his sister. I thought I'd come back for you once he stopped looking for me. But you didn't. I tried. Huang's hands twisted in her lap. I went back 6 months later. The house was empty. His sister had moved, taken you with her. I searched for 2 years. 2 years. Then I heard she'd died, that you'd been placed with another family. But no one would tell me which one. Privacy laws. Protection. They thought I'd abandoned you. so they wouldn't help me find you. Diep absorbed this. 15 years of wondering, and here was the answer. Not abandonment, just bad luck and bureaucracy, and the impossible maze of a broken system. The man in the office, Huang continued. 15 years ago, he told me you were happy, that you didn't need me anymore, that I should stop looking. Her voice turned bitter. I believed him. I thought maybe you really were better off without me. You stopped looking? Diep couldn't keep the hurt out of her voice. No. Huang looked up, fierce. I never stopped, but I stopped asking people in power for help. I just kept my eyes open, kept hoping, kept this. She gestured to the photo on the counter. Kept you with me the only way I could. Here's the moment where everything could have broken, where 15 years of pain could have turned into blame, where Diep could have said, you should have tried harder, where Huang could have said, you should have looked for me too, but they didn't. Because here's what both of them had learned, separately, over 15 years. Sometimes love means enduring. Sometimes it means letting go. Sometimes it means just surviving until you can be together again. I have a daughter, Diep said suddenly. Her name is Ni. She's 7. She calls me Mama. She's... Huang's face crumpled. You're a mother. Yes, and a wife. Diep reached for James, who stepped closer immediately. This is James. We have a farm, chickens and pineapples and ducks, and a family that chose each other. You have a good life. It wasn't a question. Huang could see it in the way Diep held James's hand. The way she talked about Ni. Yes. Diep's voice steadied. I do. I built it from nothing. And I thought I'd done it all without you. That I'd learned to be a mother with no example to follow. She pulled out her phone, showed Huang a photo, Diep and Ni in the pineapple field, both laughing, both covered in dirt. Huang stared at it. She has your smile, the same one you had when you were little. She has your eyes, Diep said. I never knew that until right now, but she does. Your eyes. And that's when it happened. Not a dramatic embrace. Just Huang reaching out, touching the phone screen like she could touch her granddaughter through it. And Diep letting her. That small gesture of connection across 15 years of distance. I don't know if I can forgive you yet, Diep said honestly. I don't know if you can forgive me for not looking harder. I don't know if we can fix this, or if it's too broken. I don't know either, Huang admitted. But I'd like to try. If you want to. Diep looked at James. He nodded slightly. Your choice. Always your choice. I'd like you to meet Ni, Diep said. And I'd like to come back. Not to live here. Not to undo 15 years. But to build something new. If that's possible. Yes. Huang was crying now. Yes, please. They didn't solve everything that day. Didn't erase the pain, or the years, or the what-ifs. But they started with phone numbers exchanged, with a promise to visit next Sunday, with Huang closing her stall early to make them tea and hear about the farm and look at more photos of Ni. When James and Diep finally left, the sun was setting. They rode home in comfortable silence until Diep said, I thought I'd be angrier. Are you disappointed you're not? No, I'm just relieved that she didn't abandon me, that she tried, that she kept looking. Diep leaned against James's back, that I can let her in without losing anything I've built. Family doesn't replace family, James said. It just adds. When did you get so wise? I learned from a woman who wrapped pineapples in a storm. The first Sunday dinner with Huang was chaos. Good chaos. The kind where Ni asked 1,000 questions and Huang answered every single one with the patience of someone who'd waited 15 years for this moment. The kind where Mr. Huang showed up with flowers, actual flowers, and apologized to Huang for what he'd done 15 years ago. The kind where James cooked too much rice and Diep burned the fish sauce, and nobody cared because they were too busy talking. "You really have chickens?" Huang asked Ni for the third time. 80 of them, Ni announced proudly. "And I know all their names." "Well, most of their names." "Okay, like 10 of their names." Everyone laughed. Even Mr. Hohen, who sat quietly at the edge of the table, watching his son's family expand in real time. After dinner, after Ni had dragged Huang off to see the chickens and the pineapple field and everything else, James and Diep stood at the kitchen window watching them. "Your father's been quiet tonight," Diep observed. "He's processing." James washed a plate. "He spent his whole life controlling everything. And now he's watching things happen that he set in motion but can't control. Must be strange for him. Do you think he regrets it? Finding her? No. I think he's learning what we already know. Fixing your mistakes doesn't erase them, but it's still worth doing." They finished the dishes in comfortable silence. Outside, Ni's laughter rang out as Huang chased her through the pineapple rows, both of them playing like they'd known each other forever. Later, when Huang was getting ready to leave, she pulled Diep aside. "Can I come back next week?" "You don't have to ask permission," Diep said. "Yes, I do." Huang's voice was firm. "This is your home, your family. I won't assume I'm just automatically part of it. I have to earn that. You're my mother. I'm a woman who gave birth to you. Being your mother, the real kind, the everyday kind, that's something I have to become." She touched Diep's face gently. "So yes, I'll ask. Every time, until you tell me I don't have to anymore." Diep hugged her then. Properly. The first real embrace they'd shared. And it felt like coming home to a place she'd never been. 3 months passed like water. Huang came every Sunday. Sometimes she stayed the whole day, sometimes just an hour. But she always came. And slowly, week by week, she stopped being the woman who gave birth to me and started being Mom. Not Mama that belonged to Diep and Ni, but Mum, different, special in its own way. The farm thrived. The pineapples sold better than ever. The chicken operation expanded again. James built a small guest room onto the house for when family visits, he said, looking meaningfully at both Mr. Hoan and Huang. And Mr. Hoan? He kept his promise, came every week, helped where asked, stepped back when not, learned to be grandfather instead of patriarch, learned that the best inheritance he could leave wasn't money, it was the space for his family to grow without him controlling how. One evening, 6 months after that first dinner, they all sat together on the porch. James and Diep, Mr. Hoan and Huang, Ni falling asleep in her grandmother's lap. The farm stretched out before them, organized chaos of chickens and pineapples and ducks and the life they'd all built together. "You know what's funny?" Mr. Hoan said suddenly. "I spent 50 years trying to build a legacy, something that would last, something with my name on it. This is your legacy," James said quietly. "Not the company, this." Mr. Hoan looked at his son, at his granddaughter, at the 2 women who'd taught them all what strength really meant. "Yes," he said. "I suppose it is." Huang shifted carefully, trying not to wake Ni. "I used to imagine what Diep's life would be like, when I was alone, when I'd given up hope of finding her. I imagined she was happy, had a family. But I never imagined this." "What did you imagine?" Diep asked. "Something smaller, safer." "Not." Huang gestured at the farm. "The family. Everything. Not this big, this brave." "I learned from the best," Diep said, squeezing her mother's hand. "A woman who survived impossible things and kept a photograph for 15 years just in case. The stars came out, one by one at first, then, all at once, filling the sky with light. They sat there, 5 people who'd found each other through loss and choice and sheer stubborn hope, and watched the world settle into peace around them. Eventually, Nee stirred, woke up, looked around at all the faces watching her with love. "Why is everyone so quiet?" "Just thinking," James said. "About what?" "About how lucky we are," Diep answered. She looked at James, who'd chosen love over power, at Mr. Hohen, who'd learned that control wasn't strength, at Huong, who'd never stopped looking, at Nee, who'd brought them all together just by being herself. To have found each other, to be here, to be home. Nee considered this seriously, then nodded. "We are pretty lucky." She yawned. "Can I have ice cream?" Everyone laughed, because that's what family does. Moves from profound to mundane in a heartbeat. And somehow, both matter equally. Later, after Huang and Mr. Hohen had left, after Nee was truly asleep in her new room, James and Diep stood at the edge of the pineapple field one last time. The same place they'd stood 6 months ago when everything was just beginning. "We did it," Diep said. "Did what?" "Built a family from broken pieces. Your father, my mother, us, Nee, all of us. Just figuring it out as we go." James pulled her close. "You know what I learned?" "What?" "That families aren't found or made or born. They're chosen. Every single day. We choose each other. That's what makes it real." Diep tilted her head back to look at the stars. The same stars that had watched over her when she was alone, when she was scared, when she was wrapping pineapples in a storm wondering if she was strong enough. The same stars that were watching now as she stood in the middle of everything she'd built. "I choose you," she said, "today and tomorrow and every day after that." "I choose you too," James replied. "All of you. This whole messy, beautiful, impossible family we've put together." They stood there for a moment longer, holding each other, holding onto the piece they'd fought so hard to build. Then they walked back to the house, their home, their life where the lights were warm and the door was open and everyone they loved was waiting. And that was enough. That was everything.